For this next lesson, we're going to look at rates. So the first thing that's important to note is that even though they're both essential to this unit, there is a difference between rates and ratios. So for the investigation, NUAD, a statistics agency, conducted a survey of 2,943 Canadians aged 18 to 34 on their web, mobile, and social networking habits. They found that this group sent, on average, 23 texts per day. Prompted by the survey, Rachel and Sarah decided to record the number of text messages they sent per day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as part of their communicating technology project. They would compare their findings with the findings on the survey. So we can see that on Wednesday, Rachel sent 46, on Thursday 38, and on Friday she sent 81 messages. Sarah sent 23 on Wednesday, 40 on Thursday, and 54 on Friday. A comparison of one number to the other with the same units is called a ratio. If we compare the number of texts Rachel sent on Friday to the number of texts Sarah sent on Friday, then we could write this ratio in one of two ways. We could either say that this is going to be a ratio of 81 to 54. And just like when we divide, we can reduce these numbers to being the same as 3 to 2. Or if I want to write it as a fraction, I always put the number on the left on the top and say that it's going to be 3 over 2. If we write a ratio in reduced form, comparing the number of texts Sarah sent on Friday to the number of texts that Rachel sent on Friday, then I'm going to just reverse the order. I'm going to say that I'm going to put Sarah's first, which would be the same as 2 to 3 or 2 over 3. If I'm comparing the ratio found in A to the ratio found in B, they are reciprocals. A comparison of quantities which cannot be expressed in the same units are called a rate. So in this case, we did a ratio of texts to text. They're the same units, the same thing. If I'm doing it in terms of different units, then I'm going to call it a rate. Rachel sent at a rate of 165 texts over the process of 3 days. Express the total number of texts Sarah sent over the 3 days as a rate. Well, the rate, if I'm doing it for Sarah, is I'm going to take all the texts she sent over those 3 days, 23 plus 40 plus 54, and divide it by there was 3 days. So I have 117 texts in 3 days. If I'm doing it as a unit rate, then I would divide the number of texts by the number of days I did it over, and I'd say that it was 39 texts per day. If Sarah continues to text at the same rate we just found, how many texts does she send in 1 month, which is 30 days? Well, I'm going to have 30 multiplied by 39 texts per day, and this is 30 days, The days will cancel out. I'm just left with a total of 1,170 texts in 1 month. So if we're going to summarize, a ratio is a comparing two quantities with the same unit. A rate is with different units. Typically, a ratio compares quantities of the same type of object, so no unit is included in the calculation. Like if we're doing texts, or if we're doing dollar to dollar, or whatever it happens to be. Because we're doing dollar to dollar, then we just wouldn't count it because it's just a rate. Just the ratio of, if I said like $20 to $10, then I could cancel out the dollars on each side because it doesn't really matter. Unless otherwise stated, ratios can be written either with the numerator on the left and the denominator on the right with a colon between them, or as a fraction. If I have a rate and I have different units, I always need to include what the units are. In this case, 25 meters per 2 seconds. I can do it as a unit rate by saying that it's going to be per 1 of whatever the denominator is. In this case, 12.5 over 1 second. So, if I'm putting this into problem solvings, Kim and Cole were given the following problem to solve. Tommy purchased 3 bottles of vitamin water for $4.95. After paying, he receives a text message from his wife informing him that some of his friends are coming to visit. He goes back to the store and purchases 4 more bottles. What was the total amount he paid for the 7 bottles if every bottle cost the same amount? Well, if I'm doing this process, then I'm going to say that $4.95 over 3 bottles is going to equal X over 7 bottles, and I'm going to cross multiply. To get X by itself, I'm going to multiply the 7 bottles into both sides, and $4.95 times 7 divided by 3 is going to give me $11.55. At the same rate, if I said that it was $4.95 per 3 bottles, then if I divide that out for the unit rate, I'm going to get $1.65 per bottle, and 7 times $1.65 is still going to give me $11.55. So either method works. For example 2, Paul hosted an annual wrap-up party for his hockey team last year. This year, he's hosting the party again, and like last year, he's going to be serving prime rib roast. Last year, he got 8 kilograms at a price of $173.12. This year, it's $10.13 per pound, remembering that 1 kilogram is the same as 2.2 pounds. Use unit analysis to determine which was the more expensive roast. So I'm going to start by saying for last year, that he got $173.12 for 8 kilograms, which means that the unit price is going to be $21.64 per kilogram. For this year, if it was $10.13 per pound, I'm going to multiply that by 2.2 pounds per 1 kilogram in order to cancel out the pounds. That's going to be gone, that's going to be gone, and I'm just going to wind up with 22.29 per kilogram. And we can see that this year's is more expensive by 65 cents. Property owners are required to pay property tax on an annual basis. The property tax amount is based on the mill rate. It is called a mill rate because that is the number expressed in mills, where 1 mill is 0.1%, and the assessed value of the property. To calculate the property taxes, some municipalities use this formula. The property tax is equal to the assessed value divided by 1,000 and multiplied by the mill rate. So, if Charlene paid $1,924.39 in property tax last year, when the mill rate was 4.6038, what is her home's assessed value to the nearest dollar? Well, in this case, I know that 1924.39 is equal to her assessed value, let's just call that A, over 1,000 times 4.6038. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 1,000 and say that 1,924,390 is equal to A times 4.6038. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the 4.6038 and state that A is going to be approximately $418,000. How much does her property tax bill change for the current year if her property is assessed 10% lower and the mill rate increases to 5.2113? Well, I need to say that my assessed value is now going to be 418,000 multiplied by 10% lower is taking 10% off 100, or 90%. So she's now assessed at $376,200. So her property tax is going to equal that new amount, 376,200, divided by 1,000 and multiplied by the new mill rate, which is 5.2113. Her new property tax is going to wind up being $1,960.49. If I want to figure out what the change in the value is, it's going to be 1960.49 minus what it was, 1924.39. The change is going to be $36.10.